Franco Italian Cafe is a restaurant for everybody. We take care almost of every single table, like if we invite you to come to a dinner. So it's why people love it, because, me, my daughter, my wife, we are always here, make sure everything is okay. The Toscan cuisine is very simple, but we use a fresh ingredient and made to order, because you cannot make a good dish if you don't start with very good quality ingredient. One of the favorite dish is strozza preti erbe aromatiche, and it's a little macaroni, chopped down leeks, prosciutto, garlic, rosemary, sage, oregano, basil, a little hot pepper, touch of Parmesan cheese, Romano cheese, and white wine, a touch of cream. People love it. This is my own recipe, something really special. My love of food came from my grandmother and my mother. So when I was a little kid, I always liked to stay in the kitchen, see what they are doing, and tasting everything. I love this kind of work. Look, I'm 74, and I'm still doing it. If I didn't love it, I wouldn't do it. I like to make people happy. When people come to eat, they go out to have a good time. 99% of the people that come to this place, that leave this door, are very happy.
So why did you choose Franco's?
I actually met Franco and his lovely wife, Caroline, when they had their very first daughter. I was working at the hospital where she delivered.
Oh, boy.
And about a year later, their second daughter was born. And both times they spoke so lovingly about their restaurant and the way he prepared the food. I thought, I have to try this place. And when you go inside, it has very much that bistro type of look. It has that dimmer lighting. It just gives you that warm family vibe. He tries to make everybody feel like they're the most important person, part of the family.
And I think he believes that. Now, I'll tee off of that warm lighting. I like warm lighting, especially a low warm lighting. But Lauren, you don't need that. What did you think of the atmosphere?
I agree with Denise. It felt like a really comfortable place to eat. I just felt like I could have great conversation. There were people around me that you could tell were having a good time.
Perfect for a nice meeting with my wife and my business associate that met me there. We were there for hours and got to do a lot of talking and enjoyed ourselves. So it was a great night for business, for anniversaries, or
And you did
special.
both. So what do you think about the appetizers? What did you have first?
Well, the bartender / server who took care of us and had been there for years suggested an antipasto platter that was not on the menu. So we went ahead and went that direction. Get ready, here's the list. In the center, it had a big piece of buffalo mozzarella cheese on a nice thick slice of tomato with some basil. There was roasted veal that was shaved, roasted pepper with anchovies, some slices, very thin slices of shaved Parmigiano Reggiano to accent anything you wanted on the plate. There was tuna carpaccio with capers on a bed of arugula. What else? There was big slices of melon wrapped in prosciutto. I think that's everything that was on there. I'll tell you what was left.
Might be enough.
I'll tell you what was left when we're done. Nothing.
Yeah.
We ate the entire plate.
So also what's cool about that is the server took you for a little ride off the menu, which I think is really cool. That's a point of service I think is really nice. Denise, how did your buddy do on the appetizers?
Oh, amazing, as always. We had a bruschetta with the tomato basil. The bruschetta was just delicious. I mean, so fresh. The tomatoes
So what was on
so
the
good.
bruschetta? Just because it
Tomato
can be made
basil.
different ways. Tomato basil, okay, good, nice toasted Italian bread.
Yeah, toasted, yeah, perfect, just absolutely perfect.
We shared the portobello mushroom, and it was so fresh and simple. And they served it with a fresh lemon, which we squeezed over it. And it was just a great taste to get our palate going and ready for our main course.
Cool.
For my meal, let's see if I can pronounce this correctly. It was a pasta, the pasta erba aroticati or something. Basically aromatic herb pasta. Let me say it in English, that'll be easier for me. So it's a very rich, creamy sauce with this pasta, and there's little bits of meat throughout that it was definitely not pancetta, so I had to ask. And they actually took prosciutto and cooked that down. The fat kind of pulls it together, so they had little balls of prosciutto throughout that. So it's just rich, creamy, comforting pasta dish for me.
And very northern. He's from Florence, so it's very northern, and that is a very typical dish of that area.
It was
Right.
fantastic.
Would you agree, Denise?
Oh, yes.
What did you have?
Well, my husband and I always share a pasta and an entree, so that we can have a little of everything. So we shared the acorn squash tortellini, which was in a honey cream sauce, like an Alfredo type sauce. The acorn squash, you can taste it on the inside, very fresh, cooked perfectly. We shared the elefante, which is elephant ear, but it's a very large veal cutlet, pounded very thinly with breading, pan fried, and it actually brought me home. And it was exactly how my grandmother used to make it. It came with a roasted potato, sautéed spinach, which was delicious in olive oil, you could tell it, and not stopping in olive oil, just perfect. And then some honey sautéed carrots, very good.
Lauren, so what did you do?
I had one of the
Pre-dessert.
specials. Pre-dessert, of course. I had one of the specials of the day, the sea bass. I did not go anticipating to get fish, but I'm so glad I did. It was moist and flaky and had a fresh tomato sauce with actual chunks of tomato. It was such a great surprise. I loved it. It came with the same side of vegetables, which were delicious and fresh, and really complemented the fish well.
Now, pièce de la résistance. What did you have for dessert?
So I had the chocolate cake, being a chocolate lover, and it was
So good.
a few layers, and then it had chocolate mousse in between, and it was gone very quickly. It was delicious, very moist.
Nice.
As dessert came around, we all had a shot of limoncello. It smelled like lemon candy almost.
Yes. Yeah.
So we went from that into an incredible dessert. I think it's called the marangata.
Marangata.
You knew I was going that direction, didn't you?
That's my favorite.
I've never seen anything like this. It was, I'm so glad we came to this restaurant. Thank you for suggesting it.
You're welcome.
What is the marangata, just to explain? Or Denise, why don't you explain
You
it?
know, I think it almost tastes like it's an ice cream because it's frozen, but yet it has more of a meringue. The outside is crispy, and it's his grandmother's recipe.
Has to be.
Yeah, and
Has
it
to
is
be.
just so good. And you get a wedge that is at least this big.
It's huge.
I mean, it's just huge.
And the sugars crystallize at the bottom to make the crust. And it's served cold, ice cold.
Yeah.
So when you take a scoop of it, you eat a bite. And I said, I get the first bite since I'm going to be on TV for this. And my friends go, okay. 4 bites later, they're going, is he going to share that or
Yeah.
what? Because I'm trying to figure out. There was like a breading on, like little chunks of breading or shortcake on the back that had a hint of strawberry to it. So
Just really good. And then the homemade whipped cream that comes on the side too with the strawberries.
And Denise, did you have another dessert besides that?
Of course, I had that, and we had the tiramisu.
I like the of course. By
Of
the way.
course. And the tiramisu is just delicious. It's so moist and it's creamy, but yet it's rich, but yet light.
Well, thank you very much for that. I'm hungry already. And if you would like to try Franco's Italian Cafe, reservations are accepted. The average tab for dinner is $45 without drinks.